All right, welcome to class, everyone. It's wonderful to see you. I'm hoping you're ready to learn. We're going to learn a lot today. Today is going to be on exponents again, but today we're going to add a couple layers that make it more difficult. A couple important standards to go through. Hopefully we're at a 3 or a 4 in the I Can learning scales by the end of the day. Blank slide. All right, let me skip that. Today we're going to add a piece about negative exponents. First off, if I give you 2 to the third, that means, just as a recap, it means 2 times 2 times 2, which is 8. Okay? Let me ask you another answer. What would negative 2 to the third be? Notice it's in parentheses. The answer to that would be negative 8, because it's negative 2 times negative 2 times negative 2. I don't know if you can see that. There we go. Let's get that out of the way. There we go. That would give me 4 times negative 2, which gives me negative 8. All right? I'm going to trick you on this one. Let's say I had negative 2 to the third. That means this piece first, which is 8, and then that negative drops down. You get negative 8. All right? New piece that we're going to add today is not going to be a negative right here or right here. Now our question is going to look like this. 2 to the negative third. What do you think that equals? Connor, don't say negative 8. It's not the answer. The answer is 1/8. You see a negative number anywhere in there? Nope. It's a positive 1/8. All right? So our little rule that we're going to kind of think through is, how do you get from here to there? Well, if you notice, it's a positive number because this is a positive number, right? So you're not going to have negative numbers just because you have negative exponents. And let's take a look in the next slides for what we're going to do. All right. Homework from yesterday. We're going to kind of skip that. Let's do this first. Actually, I kind of jumping all over the place. I'm sorry, but I just kind of excited about all these numbers. I think that we're going to do pretty good on these. Everybody know what 2 squared is? 4. Everybody know what 2 to the first is? It's 2, right? What pattern do you see here? Dividing by 2 each time, right? You want to think about it that way? So when we get down to these numbers, the pattern still should continue because it's still numbers, right? We got 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So this would be 2 to the 0, 2 to the negative 1, 2 to the negative 2, 2 to the negative 3. Okay? A little bit sloppy, but hopefully you can understand that. So let me keep my letters in red still. If I started at 32 there, divided it by 2, you get 16. Divided by 2, you get that. Divided by 2, you get that. Divided by 2, you get that. What's 2 divided by 2? It's 1. Let me write this in green. What's 1 divided by 2? 1/2. What's 1/2 divided by 2? It's 1/4. What's 1/4 divided by 2? It's 1/8. Check out the pattern there. Did these numbers here in this row become negative? No. These numbers were all negative. Well, this is a little sloppy because I have the negative or the question mark thing in there, but they're all positive numbers, and it's just a pattern. Okay? I'm gonna make a gamble that someone might see this pattern and could be able to tell me what 2 to the negative 4th is. All right? Who should I call on? Clayton? Rocking that guitar, you think you got this one? What's the pattern? 1/2, 1/4, 1/8. Guess what? It's 1/16. All right? What's 2 to the negative 5? It's going to be 1 over 32. Okay? Got positive numbers because there's positive numbers there. Positive base numbers, right? Those are the two things that we're going to talk about. This negative exponent thing, and kind of skipped over it real fast. 2 to the 0. Most people might want to say 0, but what was our answer there? It was 1. That's kind of the big main thing. Zeros and exponents that we're going to talk about today, all right? So let's jump through those notes real quick. I put a ton of words and stuff, you know, all in here. Those are the fancy math stuff, so if you don't get it, you can kind of look through those and make sense of it. I kind of skip around those because they look confusing to me right now, and I feel that these problems are simple, and so I just want to show you a bunch of examples, all right? Because I feel like examples, Cameron, hopefully you agree with me on that one. I mean, makes stuff easier, all right? Here's the answer, 1. Here's the answer, 1. Anything to the 0 power, it's always the whole number 1. Okay, David? This answer, if you punch it on your calculator, you're going to get 1 over 25. How in the world did they do that? Well, I should have maybe actually went back and showed you that beginning thing. What's going to happen, actually I'll keep that, 1/25. What's going to happen is us in the math world, we don't like negative exponents. Okay, those are just like a taboo. It's thing is something to stay away from. So we just have to rearrange them so they're not negative exponents. Okay? Here's how we get from this step to our correct answer. Really, I have 5 squared over 1 if you want to think about it. All I'm going to do is take that squared to the negative 2 and dump it on the bottom. And it becomes a positive. It's 5 positive 2 now. And on the top, we still have a 1. Well, what's 5 squared? 25. Okay? That's how we get that one. Over here, I see that negative. See how it's in parentheses? That's okay. It's really over 1, so I'm going to take it and dump it on the bottom. And it becomes negative 2 raised to the positive 4th power now. One of the, over this, well, this is really negative 2 times negative 2 times negative 2 times negative 2. That's really 4 times 4. So it's really going to be 1/16 on the bottom. Okay? When you have a calculator, you have a phone calculator, you can do all that stuff in there. Like I said, how you do the to the 4th is just that little caret button on most calculators. Yeah, it's somewhere in there. Go on Google Hangouts or send me an email if you're having trouble with your calculators. Those will be super helpful on this one. Okay? All right. Number 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to pound through them real quick. 0. Anything to the 0 power is the number 1. Okay? This is a 3 to the negative 3, so I'm going to flip it and make it on the bottom, which is 1 over 3 times 3 times 3, which is 27. This one, same thing. It's going to be 1 over negative 3 squared, which is negative 3 times negative 3 is positive 9. And then this one, the answer is 1. Okay? Hey, on the quiz, when you get those 0 exponent ones, those are super easy. Don't get them wrong. All right, here we go. Let's go to example 2. This is now simplifying things. Okay. Well, if I just gave you x to the 4th or x to the negative 4th, excuse me, and I said simplify it, it's the same thing as 1 over x to the 4th, right? You would just take it and dump that on the bottom. Well, when we have a bunch of stuff, you're going to move just the pieces that you need to, okay? And it's all about negative exponents, okay? So sometimes what I like to do is I'm going to just draw an over something, an over 1, if you want to think about it that way. And I'm going to move every piece that needs to be moved. Does the 3 have a negative exponent? Tristan, it does not. Okay? So that stays. So I'm gonna write my answers over here. So that 3, nothing moved with it, right? Let's see, Brandon, does this x to the negative 4th have a negative exponent? Yeah. So I'm going to take it and dump it on the bottom. Now it becomes x to the 4th. Try to color code here. Let's do red. Bloop. Does that one have a negative exponent? Yep. So dump it on the bottom. It becomes y to the 5th. Okay? And so, real fast and easy, that's our final answer. You know, maybe, if I'm being super picky, toss it over in the middle so it looks a little bit nicer. But that's all it is. So take one little piece at a time. Anything with a 0 is the whole number 1. Anything with a negative exponent, let's move it. Okay? So let's try that. Letter B. This 4, does that have a negative exponent? Nope. So it stays. Okay? This is x to the 0. Bethany, what do you think that one's going to be? Anything to the 0 power is 1. So really it's times 1, right? And last but not least, we have this y to the negative 3. That has a negative exponent. Do red for that one. So I'm going to take that. And if this one is a negative and I brought it down, this one's a negative, so I'm going to bring it up. So I'm going to just toss it up top there. Makes it a positive. Okay? There's nothing on the bottom, so I can write over 1. I don't really need to. So actually, I don't even need a division sign for that one. Final answer is going to be 4 times 1, which is 4 with a y cubed. Okay? Not too shabby. All right. Number 1 is going to try to trick you. There's a difference between this and this. Oops. I know you can't see, but my shadow just got in the way of me writing that. That's why I made that mistake, because I'm in school at a Smartboard right now. But anyways, this bottom one, the answer is 1. Because like I said before, anything to the 0 power is 1. This one, the answer is negative 1. Why? What's the difference? Obviously, the second one has parentheses, right? So, Alan, if you remember PEMDAS, please excuse my dear Aunt Sally, everything in math kind of goes back to that. Parentheses first. There's no parentheses. Exponents is next. This is really a 5 to the 0, and it's really timesing by a negative 1. We don't really write that, but that's what happens. And so it's just 5 to the 0, which is 1, right? But then that negative kind of just follows up and becomes a negative 1. Okay? So just real quick, understand the difference between those two. So if I have this top one, this is going to be negative 1. And on the bottom, I don't really like that 2 to the negative 2, so I'm going to bring it up top and make it 2 to the squared, which is 4, right? So we get the final answer of negative 4. Okay? So bring up what you need to, or bring down what you need to, whatever you got. Okay? Getting more complicated now. Hopefully you can kind of see these. I understand it might be really tiny for you. Let me just rewrite that. That's this letter 2 here. Okay? Let me scroll up so you only see that important piece. Alright, yeah, there we go. This is the way I'm going to teach it now. Those tiny writings, those don't make sense. Alright, here we go. Boom. Big division line. We move what we need to. This 3 to the negative 2. Does that have a negative exponent? Nolan Gonzalez. It does. So let's dump it to the bottom. So that's going to be 3 squared on the bottom. Okay? This x to the negative 5, does that have a negative exponent? Yes, it does. So also take that and dump it on the bottom. It's x to the positive 5. Y to the 0. Let's do circle with black. That one's just 1, right? So I mean, you really just got times 1. There's nothing on top, so we'll put a 1 there. And then let's combine our answers. That's going to be on the top. It's going to be 1. And the bottom is going to be 9 times 1, which is 9x to the 5th. Okay? Does that make sense to everyone? Let's move on, all right? Couple more problems. Now we're going to be, I think we already did that one. This one might have gotten out of place. Anyways, you got a homework assignment, okay? Or something like this. It's just a little bit of practice. When we have negative exponents, remember to drop it to the bottom. On these ones, I want you to get the actual number for it. So this one do 1 over, what is 4 thirds? 64, right? Yeah. So that'll be your answer for that. Okay? What's the answer for this one, right? 1. So those ones will be pretty darn easy, I think, right? And then you're going to have another one. So 2 worksheets today. Mr. Beak making us do all this work? Don't worry, it's not the end of the world. So here we go. If I just randomly pick in a couple, right? The 3, does that thing move or stay? It stays. It's a positive. The x to the negative 2. It's a negative, so I'm going to dump it on the bottom. The y squared, that's a positive. I'm going to keep it up top there, right? So you only move the pieces that you need to. Here's your final answer. Okay? You guys can do this. Let me know if you have any questions. I'll be on Google Hangouts and hope to help you out. All right? You guys have a wonderful rest of your day. You take care.